Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to game number 2 in this best of 3 series between Impunity and Boost Cabor Esports. So happy to be here bringing you this live coverage. Of course, I'm Zyori from ZyoriTV. Thank you so much for joining us here for your DreamHoN Summer Championships 2012. Oh, pardon me. There we go. Now we can see the game and who we're up against exactly. Let's go on D&D, ZyoriTV. Whoops, there we... Oh, gosh, there's a space in the front. There we are. Okie dokie. So we are in it, ready to rock and roll. Game number 1, about a 20-minute concede or so in favor of Impunity Esports, BOCE. Had a fairly good roster. It wasn't one of those games that came down to drafting being bad or one team doing something really stupid with the lanes. It seemed Impunity just kind of got the better of them. Unfortunately, BOCE didn't get that start that they should have with those lanes, and it just didn't really work out for them the way it should have. Again, I question a little bit the decision to put Glacius with Monkey King and Nymphora with Silhouette. I think swapping those supports would have been a much better way to go and probably would have made their lane setup just a little tiny bit easier. Again, there are plenty of other streams covering today's stuff as well. You can head over to the Zyori.tv calendar where all of the said streams are cataloged. That is really kind of the best way to go about it. You can take a look here, and there it is. See the event in Group B Game 1. You can see HonCast, you can see ZyoriTV, and if you mouse over to even, whoa, live viewers. I haven't refreshed, but there you go. It does update every time you refresh, so very cool stuff. You can see who's casting what, as there is a lot of HonCon content that will be coming up over the next, 30 days or so? Something like that, maybe down to 25 days, something insane. Insane indeed. Sorry, I gotta keep wetting the whistle when we're solo casting here. All right. So, of course, we are plagued with some graphics bugs. Glacius's portrait should be showing up here in this little box. Why it tisn't, I don't know. It's a problem I've been having quite a bit. Of course, Valkyrie should be showing up next to Torturer there as well. I don't know. I really have no explanation unless I want to reset Han in between every game. Psh, who wants to do that? I sure as hell don't. So, let's go ahead and take a look at what these teams are starting off with. Team Impunity going to throw blind bands out onto Magnus and Behemoth. We'll see our Hellborn side. BOCE going to throw their blind bands onto Polywog Priest and Tundra. Now, Polywog Priest Tundra are reminiscent of last game. I think the Hellborn may have actually done the exact same blind bands, but this Legion side, Behemoth and Magnus, neither of them were in the last game, and that makes me think, well, perhaps they're going to do a strategy that's particularly countered by those two heroes. I mean, there are some parallels. They both have huge AoE ultimates, potentially game-changing ultimates once they get portal keys, as well as they both have a very effective line stun. So it makes me a little bit curious. What is Impunity going to try here? Are they going to do some sort of weird strategy where they have a couple of channeling ultimates and they don't want to worry about them getting interrupted? Are they going to go super aggressive and don't want to have to worry about the defensive advantages that heroes like Behemoth and Magnus bring, particularly Behemoth? He is one of the best turtling heroes in the game. So it makes me wonder a little bit, but of course, time will tell, and we'll see as things continue. This drafting phase going by a little bit more quickly than the last one, and for that, I thank you. Let's take a look at the locks here. Of course, Impunity now going to have first lock and first pick in this game. Going to start off with a lock onto Glacius, followed by Bubbles, Nymphora, Torturer, Valkyrie, and Demented Shaman. So again, a very interesting locked pool. This one interesting for a couple of reasons different from last time, mostly because all the heroes in there are pretty powerful. We don't see any real throwaway heroes, but a couple of them are on that sort of lower tier of heroes that are picked up in a reasonable manner. Valkyrie, Demented Shaman, and Nymphora are three that jump out at me as ones we don't see all that often. As I mentioned, Bubbles is one that makes it to that locked pool quite a bit, but he's been getting picked up less and less commonly as of late. So, you know, last game I predicted both teams would pick Bubbles and neither side did in the end, so it'll again come down to what these first picks kind of look like. That Demented Shaman pickup makes me a little bit curious as well. What are they thinking? Valkyrie is an interesting case to talk about now, as she was the go-to pick for so long, and she's kind of dropped off as well. It's been a while since we've seen Valkyrie picked up, so it will be interesting to see here in this game as well. And there it is. Impunity going to start things off with a Tempest pickup, and I can't tell you how much that tickles my fancy. I am so excited to see some Tempest play from another Southeast Asian team. Again, we did a Zyori breakdown this morning talking about Tempest, Ophelia, and the power of Storm Spirit. It was started as a breakdown revolving just around Tempest and evolved into something a little bit more. So I am excited to see some Tempest plays, and I'm curious if Impunity is going to do something interesting here, maybe pick up a Wild Soul Tempest duo so we can see an in-lane Tempest, or at least a roaming Tempest with Wild Soul in the long lane. I will be curious. Did I say roaming Tempest? I meant to say jungling Tempest. I mean, roaming, jungling, there are some parallels there, but I meant to say jungling. Should be interesting nonetheless. Demented, or not Demented Shaman, Sandwraith and Pharaoh going to be the first two picks for BOCE, and I'm scratching my head just as hard as you are. I'm not sure what to make of that. Those are two very, very strange first picks. Mostly the Sandwraith pick. Not only is Sandwraith weird and not the most powerful of heroes right now, but also why not just pick him here with this blue spot? You have the glory of last pick. Why not pick up the Sandwraith? Perhaps that was intentional, just trying to throw them off, maybe hoping that Impunity will overreact a little bit here. And a Dark Lady pick going to be made to complement the Meraxes Tempest that have already been picked. So this is going to be interesting. Dark Lady on Sandwraith. Who's going to end up being the harder carry? My prediction, Dark Lady's going to peak a little bit before Sandwraith. All else equal, if their farms are kind of comparable, neither of them get super fed, at least not much more relative to one another, then Dark Lady's going to peak a little bit earlier than Sandwraith, going to be a little bit more useful, but that Sandwraith ultimate becomes so powerful as the game goes on. It's such a strong disorientation tool, as well as a strong damage dealing ability. In the end, though, Sandwraith is the ultimate carry. If this game lasts for an hour and a half, Sandwraith will be reflecting so much damage. Dark Lady won't know what to do with all of that damage that she can put out. BOCE, though, I mean, they are just picking up a storm. Dr. Repulsor going to be their third wildcard pick. So a very unorthodox draft, I think, to say the least here. And that makes me very curious how they're going to lane this. Hopefully this isn't just going to be some sort of a troll game and they have a plan in mind. That's at least my hope. I would assume that's the case. I mean, there is a lot on the line. Just losing that first game doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to lose the series. I think some of the mistakes that BOCE made in that last game were fairly evident and ones that they should be able to identify themselves in that picking / post-game stage. And they're like, all right, what went wrong? What did we pick wrong? What did we lane wrong? And I think that they can reason that out themselves. So that makes me hopeful that there is some method behind the madness here when it comes down to these pickups. We'll see what they do. Of course, they do have 5 heroes at their disposal. And I'm not even going to try to make predictions. I would assume that Dr. Repulsor is going to be solo, so they're probably going to need a babysitter, and there it is. They're going to go ahead and pick up Nymphora Torturer. So that, again, that makes me wonder about these lanes a little bit. Is this going to be a support Torturer we're going to see here, or something else, or more of a support Pharaoh? Who's going to be supporting who? We're going to see. This Hellborn roster is absolutely off the chains. I don't know what to say about it. I can't wait to see how the lanes come out. I mean, this could potentially be a tri-lane of sorts. I mean, they could solo Dr. Repulsor, solo Pharaoh, and then throw Sandwraith, Torturer, and Nymphora into a tri-lane. But that seems like a very clunky tri-lane to me. Very odd as well. I don't see that going particularly well in the way of picking up early hero kills. And, I mean, with 2 ranged, you had that potential to harass your opposition out of the lane and allow Sandwraith that opportunity to pick up free farm, but it still is a little bit of a messy tri-lane, certainly one that is very much unorthodox. So let's get into the game here and see how this is going to unfold. This Legion side has a pretty straightforward roster as well. They're going to have a solo Meraxes, solo Bubbles, Tempest in the jungle, then Dark Lady Glacius. This draft from Impunity is very, very predictable, very, very standard, but very, very strong as well. It's predictable because it's kind of proven to be successful, at least if executed properly. Dark Lady is going to be able to have a pretty good time farming with Glacius. If they do opt for this tri-lane, I think it's going to be more of a defensive tri-lane, and they are going to guess right. So here it is. They are indeed going to do it, and they're going to do it in the right lane down here. They want to go up against that Glacius Dark Lady duo just to deny that farm of Dark Lady and also try and get some farm for Sandwraith as well. That's going to make it very difficult for this Legion side, and I actually like the choice to do a tri-lane here because it makes it a little easier when your opposition has a jungler. Tempest being in the jungle is going to make it so that they're not going to have much flexibility to deal with this tri-lane. Impunity doesn't have a roster that has a lot of heroes where you can easily say, okay, well, we're going to pull you from where you are and put you in a tri-lane to deal with this. Looks like they are going to rotate potentially a bit here. Miraxis and Glacius going to be at the top. As we see, Dark Lady is still down in the close lane. So at the moment, at least, they are going to have a solo Dark Lady going up against a tri-lane, and that's exactly what Cat Lomain's team is looking for here. BOCE. I shouldn't call them Cat Lomain's team. That's going to be great for our Hellborn side as well, because it's going to be a solo Pharaoh going up against a solo Bubbles, and when they rotate Glacius to that bottom lane, as I'm sure they will to support that Dark Lady, it's going to be Miraxis against Dr. Repulsor. So that's two heads-up solo lanes that should favor this Hellborn side quite a bit. Of course, the caveat, though, they must do well in the tri-lane. That is the one thing that has to go well here. They cannot concede any deaths. If they do, they need to be favorable exchanges, and this Sandwraith needs to pick up some farm. He needs to hit that 300 GPM mark in a very timely manner and get that Maca Brilliance ASAP. If Sandwraith can get some momentum and vastly outfarm the efforts of Dark Lady, then he certainly can carry this game. BOCE has a roster and a setup that could certainly take this series into a Game 3, so it's going to be all about how Impunity opts to react to the tri-lane that they're about to see. I think they're still yet to see Torturer. No wards down here, so Dark Lady has absolutely no vision and needs to be very careful indeed. Dark Lady sitting 1-0. Already farming a bit better than Sandwraith, sitting 2-0 with Sandwraith 0-2. Not off to the best start, if I don't say so myself. Again, to note why Dark Lady is okay in this role, and probably why Impunity likes the solo Dark Lady, is because of this Taint Soul ability. It allows her to farm from a safe distance and still pick up a moderate amount of creep kills. But, there's the initiation. The stun from Torturer. Oh, poorly executed from BOCE. And Nymphoria not going to be on par with that Zeal stun. I don't think they would have had enough damage for a stun, but the jig is up. They know that Torturer is here now. And, this is so rough for that Hellborn side. Dark Lady is doing much better than she should be. That creep score should not be comparable to Sandwraith right now. They need to get in this lane, throw some harassment onto Dark Lady. Torturer is not gaining anything by hiding in the trees right here. Dark Lady knows she's there. Everyone else in the world knows she's there. She's not denying creeps, and she's not putting any hurt onto Dark Lady. Why the hero damage percentage is nothing for these, or so low for these two heroes, I shouldn't say nothing because it is high, but auto attack damage, I probably should say. It's very low for where it should be this early on. Finally, they're going to split this lane. Dark Lady going to scoop back to mitigate a little bit of damage. Very nicely done by Lady Melissa. Looking at that GPM chart, Dark Lady is the leading farmer on the Legion team in a 1v3 lane. That is sad. That is beyond sad. Ouch, I'm crying a little bit. We're going to see the counter tri-lane come down here. Glacius is going to come. They're going to try to get aggressive. Dark Lady wants to man up on this Nymphoria. She's only level 1. Nymphoria very well could fall right here. Dark Lady is going to man down. Looks like they're going to try and just turn on the Torturer as she's looking juicy. Dark Lady going to have those cooldowns up, and they are not going to be able to capitalize. Unfortunate that Tempest couldn't come over earlier. That would have been a very easy kill on Nymphoria. The Courier, ooh, need to be a little bit careful. There we go. Shield going to be popped. Nicely done by Impunity, though. Again, playing with fire a little bit. So it is going to come down to kind of a tri-lane on tri-lane. Again, Dark Lady is doing phenomenally well, or at least off to a very good start for the way this game is going. Cat Lomain in the top lane looks like he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And, oh, Miraxis is going to man down. He did have an axe and a Quake coming up. A questionable play. I think he may have been able to pick up a kill there had he opted to be a little bit more aggressive. Let's take a look at these other lanes, though, see how that farm is going about. And, yeah, we're going to see Pharaoh here taking a bit of damage. He's sitting 13-2, while Bubbles sitting 11-3, so a very comparable mid lane. And up at the top, Miraxis 9-5, with Dr. Repulsor sitting 9-4. So top and mid are really break-even lanes right now. It's all going to come down to this bottom lane, and that's where we're seeing a difference in this XP boost. Of course, Tempest in the jungle does open up a little bit more room for experience, and this tri-lane kind of holding back the Hellborn side as far as early experience boost is concerned, but that's to be expected. Really nothing wrong with that at this point in time. Glancing at the creep scores again, Dark Lady 10-0, while Sandwraith 19-9, so he's finally starting to pull ahead a little bit, but still, this Dark Lady shouldn't really be able to get near the creeps. Really should only be able to farm with Taint Soul. We see here she's not even being harassed out of the lane. Even with Glacius here, a 2v3 lane should be very much so in favor of the tri-lane, at least to set up some of these kills. And, oh, Glacius could be in a little bit of trouble here. Perhaps not. Are they going to be able to turn this around onto Nymphoria? Nymphoria is going to fall. That's going to be a bloodlust kill in favor of Dark Lady. We're going to see Sandwraith get a kill onto Glacius, but of course, very much so benefiting Impunity. Of all the heroes to pick up that Bloodlust Skull, Dark Lady is bad news bears. This is going to give her a huge gold boost here, and she is now on par with that Sandwraith, both of them farming around 300 GPM. Of course, Sandwraith a hop and a skip ahead of that, though he is slowly going to deteriorate here as that inflation goes down. Bubble's going to come in with a haste rune. It looks like they're going to go straight for Torturer. He's going to throw the Shell Surf. It's going to connect. He's going to port ahead, and Torturer is going to die. Very nicely done by Bubbles to secure that kill. Impunity going to pull ahead now 2-1. early on in this game. Up in the top lane, looks like a little bit of damage exchanging between Repulsor and Meraxes, though no kill going to come about. Off to a rough start for this tri-lane, though. Not even close to all hope being lost, but off to a little bit of a slow start. Like I said, this even exchange is going to benefit Impunity just a little bit more. I feel like their team is a bit more well-rounded for a team fight presence, at least in the early and mid-game. So that makes me very, very nervous. Of course, they have the pushing potential as well with that Tempest, and that makes me nervous indeed. Up in the top lane, Meraxes is going to be able to pick up a kill onto Dr. Repulsor. Very unfortunate for Catlomain. We did miss the beginning of that engage to see what happened exactly, but bad news bears for the Hellborn side indeed. More initiation coming down on the Torturer here. He's going to get the impalement off, but it's not going to be enough. Lady Melissa just going to go straight in there and do a lot of damage. Glacius still alive. Sandwraith completely out of mana. And that's going to be an easy kill. I'm surprised Glacius was able to survive. I almost wanted to rewind there and see exactly what happened with Glacius. But this Dark Lady sitting 2-0-1 again up against a tri-lane. That's really the icing on the cake. Dark Lady getting dangerously low, almost going down. The power supply going to have to keep him alive. Will turn and throw that Taint Soul, and he's going to head for the well. He's going to be in great shape and will survive to tell the tale. 2-0-1 versus the 1-0-0 Sandwraith in the same lane. They have the disadvantage. Tempest hasn't even come into the lane yet, and the Hellborn side is losing. Not a good sign for Catlomain's team. I know I've repeated that a couple times in the last few minutes here, but it's so important to note these other lanes being as even as they are, this is the deal breaker, this tri-lane down bottom. The fact that they're able to hold their own in a 2v1, the fact that they're able to stay break even in a 2v3 would be a victory for Impunity. The fact that they're winning this tri-lane speaks wonders to how they're going to do as this game continues to unfold. Relatively quiet match, only 5 kills on the board now as we're approaching halfway through that 6th minute. Hopefully the action picks up a little bit here. Do apologize for not paying attention to the runes as closely as I should have been, but it looks like Bubbles has been controlling the runes for the most part. He did pick up that haste down at the bottom, and it looked like he had a haste rune on, though I cannot confirm. So regardless, you know, rune control going back and forth a little bit. He's just going to go toe-to-toe with Pharaoh here. Oh, Pharaoh got that last rune, pardon me, he didn't have a haste. I was just seeing things. Regeneration rune in the bottle of Pharaoh, so it's been at least 1 for 1. I'm not sure who picked up that 2-minute rune. Again, just playing into that point of how even these other 2 lanes are, we can take a look at the GPM chart just for good measure here. Keep tabs on where everyone's at. Dark Lady slowing down a little bit, still sub 300 GPM, while Sandwraith is really starting to capitalize on that tri-lane gold farm. Sitting at 340 GPM is certainly where he wants to be right now. And seeing Dr. Repulsor actually pull ahead and farm against Meraxes is a little bit surprising, seeing as Meraxes did pick up that kill. But look at that creep score difference. Wow, 33 and 15 on Dr. Repulsor, up against the 20 and 8 of Meraxes, so he's getting the much better of the farm up there, which is great news for BOCE, kind of one of the things keeping them in this game, as well as this huge amount of Sandwraith farm. He's going to go ahead and pick up that health too. That makes me wonder, is he going to go Helm of the Black Legion first before he goes straight into Maca Brilliance? And that may be the right choice, though. This may be one of these situations where his farm is good enough and he can afford to take enough of a risk that he can just go straight for that Maca Brilliance. He is about 50 gold off that Helm, though, so we'll see which route he opts to take. Of course, Sandwraith's farm really will start to skyrocket once he hits level 6. You can just pop that ultimate and pick up assist gold from anywhere on the map. You can also hop into KS a little bit if that is his fancy. Still a very slow game with both teams free farming, or not free farming, but just farming away. Can't say that I'm too surprised when it's kind of tri-lane on tri-lane. That tends to be the way things unfold. Look at this from Pharaoh. Bubbles with a huge play right on the edge of the mummies. Not going to walk into him, and unfortunately Pharaoh is going to fall. I'm not sure why he didn't deny the mummies right there, but still Ninja Boogie going to be able to pick up that kill. Now sitting 2-0-2. He has officially won this mid lane. So the Hellborn's not going to win the top lane, but this Legion team will, of course, win the mid lane with Bubbles. Tempest now sitting level 6, does have an ultimate ready as well as a Ring of Sorcery. He's going to head over to the shop and probably pick up some boots here. Missed it on the first lap. He's going to be able to pick them up now. And this could be bad news bears for the Hellborn team. Catlomain going to come straight in here. They're going to try to initiate on the Dark Lady. Where's the Tempest ulti? It's not going to come out. And is it going to come out? There it is. They're going to be able to finish off Dr. Repulsor here, no doubt. Pharaoh going to come in, not going to be able to connect with the ultimate. Here comes Bubbles. Doesn't have a Kelp field, but it's going to be enough to secure the kill on him 4. And now Sandwraith's going to be in big trouble. He's going to get frozen. Does not have enough mana for an ultimate now that he does use, what's that called? Desert's Curse to try and get away. Nowhere to go, though. Does have that creep or tree walking. He's going to go back into the lane. Ooh, might want to coin that a mistake. He will be able to ultimate to get away. Gonna go to the top lane, though. No, where did he go? Oh, yeah, there he went. No, where did he go? There he is. He's still in the bottom lane. Pardon me. That ultimate disorienting for players and casters alike. They won't be able to secure that kill, but it's still a 2-for-1 exchange, of course, in favor of the Legion side. Dark Lady is back, and she's ready for action. She's ported to the tower, and she's ready to pick up this farm. Looks like the Legion side, despite getting a cost-effective exchange, will be able to push this tower as well. Now that Dark Lady's back, still has an ultimate, they may be able to make something happen. Of course, Dark Lady's ultimate was nerfed in the patch that came out today. It is no longer global, just has a really, really long range of about 2,500 units or so. Ninja Boogie going to man up, and he's going to walk right into Dr. Repulsor. This is going to be bad for Ninja Boogie, and I think he's going to fall. There's to take cover. Nothing he could do. Cat Lo Mein going to be one to pick up the kill, despite the Kelp Field coming out. A nice thought from Ninja Boogie, but walking right into Dr. Repulsor certainly was not his intention. Very limited sight here for the Legion side. There's a haste rune down bottom as well, and we'll see which side heads down there to pick it up. They both have sight of that room. Glacius going to get Wrath of the Pharaoh. He's going to fall in a matter of seconds. Meraxis is here with the ultimate activated, and it has quite the charge on it. He's going to be able to do a good bit of damage when he comes in. He needs to be careful as it's going to expire very quickly here, and you want to get some damage. It will connect with Torturer, but that's about it. Meraxis in big trouble here, though. He's going to move around. The Dark Lady ultimate going to come out. Torturer is going to fall. Nicely done. Avi going to be the one to pick up that kill. He's going to head for the hills now, and he may very well be able to survive this. Dark Lady in here doing a hell of a lot of damage, looking like she might be able to drop Pharaoh, but not before Meraxis falls. Sandwraith doing as much damage as he can. Meraxis going to go down, and down goes, pardon me, who was that? Oh, Pharaoh gets taken out as well. Lost my train of thought there. Ninja Boogie came in to pick up the kill, and Dr. Repulsor is back. No buyback use. He's just going to respawn. Dark Lady going to leap forward. It's not going to be enough. Dark Lady's going to fall. Nymphora going to go down also. Talk about a chaotic team fight here. Bubbles still in the mix, trying to do what he can. Wants to finish off this Sandwraith. Ooh, that Song of the Sea didn't look like it connected with much. In comes the Desert's Cursed. The damage was done, although take cover used. Sandwraith going to have an ultimate. He's going to drop it. Where's it going to go? And there he is. He's going to try to make something happen onto Glacius. Oh, looks like Young GPK going to man up a bit too much. He's going to fall to the wrath of Glacius. So when it's all said and done, the Legion team going to come out ahead here now 12-7, 3.5k gold, 3.9k experience after a hugely chaotic team fight. Both teams just sending waves and waves of heroes. But of course, Impunity coming out ahead when it's all said and done. The tower does survive, though. That is one important thing to note. BOCE does defend their Tier 1 tower, so obviously a difference in their playstyle from that last game. They started off last match by sacking a Tier 2 tower to Forsaken Archer right around this same time, and here they put forth all of their effort to defend a Tier 1 tower, and it's nice to see that sort of difference in playstyle. Looking at the XP per minute chart, though, Bubble is pulling way ahead. He's really broken from the pack here. He's sitting at about 500 experience per minute, while everyone else sitting around 350, at least the leaders of the rest of the pack. That was an odd sentence, but as you can see, he's broken away. Let's see the GPM chart as well. He's pulling ahead in that front as well. Dark Lady and Sandwraith both still kind of toe-in-toe, a difference of about 30 GPM or so. As we see, Sandwraith is still a little bit ahead. Sandwraith not going to go for the super fast Mach Rush. He is indeed going to go Helm of the Black Legion first, as well as some Mystic Vestments. So this is going to be a little bit more of a mid-game or an early game as well oriented Sandwraith, where he's going to be able to play a little bit more of an active role. As we saw in that team fight, he didn't port out and go free farm in one of the other lanes. He stayed to be part of that team fight to pick up all of that assist gold. And, of course, he would not have been able to do that had he gone for Mach of Brilliance first. Up in the top lane, you're going to see Dr. Repulsor in big trouble. He's going to go down. Ninja Boogie actually going to get the kill as he does have that Kelp Field out, even though Meraxis did use the Quake. But a nice kill nonetheless. Very nicely done by Impunity. Over here at the side shop, Torturer going to be in big trouble. It is a 3v1 despite Torturer doing a lot of damage. She's going to get frozen, and down she goes. Pharaoh going to come in, will connect with Tempest. Tempest has an ultimate up here, and is he going to drop it? No. He saw Nymphora on the ready. The Zeal Stun came out. A smart choice not to use the Elemental Void. Tempest needs to be very careful here, though. Maybe forced to drop the ultimate before he's ready. And nope, not going to be forced to use. They are going to be able to just get that kill onto Pharaoh. Seeing the Mummy Wall there, working in favor of the Legion side more so than the Hellborn side of things. Impunity coming out way ahead in that fight. A 2-for-1 down in the bottom lane, and of course picking off Dr. Repulsor in the top lane. Impunity looking like they want to push this Tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, though they are going to fan out a little bit as Boost Kabor Esports seem hell-bent on defending this bottom Tier 1 tower. All the while in the top lane, Bubbles just pushing away as well as free farming. Sandwraith going to port up to try and slow down his farming efforts. Now that Sandwraith has that Helm of the Black Legion, he can afford to lane heads up against someone quite easily. and Bubbles actually just going to get the hell out of there. So this is going to be Sandraith's opportunity to pick up a bit of free farm, and Impunity is going to have to make some executive decisions here about exactly how they want to handle this. Do they want to try and set up a similar opportunity here? Who picked it up? And it was Dr. Repulsor. Beautifully done to grab that haste rune. He's going to do as much damage to Bubbles as he can. I'm a little bit surprised to see Bubbles not man up here. He does have that kelp field. Dr. Repulsor is a very squishy hero right now, and I think this may have been a mistake to wait so long to use it. Yeah, Bubbles going to fall. That haste rune going to be used. Sandraith's going to get frozen as he did get caught in the kelp field. Will have some cliff walking. He's going to be able to make it out of there. Tempest still has an elemental void. Not going to find the opportunity to use it. Not the best execution from Ninja Boogie right there. I think he could have afforded to at least go toe-to-toe with Dr. Repulsor a bit longer, as he's still sitting on red boots, doesn't have his steam boots quite yet. That gives Ninja Boogie a huge advantage. He can cycle around those steam boots for a little bit of variation. Dr. Repulsor is stuck without that additional 10 strength if it comes down to it. So just my 2 cents there, but... Torturer going to put some pressure on this tower, is going to go ahead and use the impalement. The tower taking a bit of damage, but they're not going to commit to this push whatsoever. Probably the smart play not to overcommit, but Impunity is spread all over the map. Would not have been an easy defense. So all things considered, probably good for them that the push didn't continue. Down to the bottom lane, Lady Melissa going to be able to pick up some free farm, kind of comparable to what Sandraith is doing up in the top. Meanwhile, the rest of the Hellborn team is all clumped up the mid, and looks like they're set on trying to take out this tower. The glyph going to be used just outside of deny range, and it looks like a defense is going to be posed, I would assume. Tempest, are you going to throw the ultimate down? No, she is not going to eat a stun. A port going to come in as the tower falls. Tempest, where are you in the background? Not going to have that opportunity. Is Sandraith pushing him back? Dark Lady going to go ahead and scare Sandraith back into the bushes here. Looks like a kill did come out in favor of the Legion team, and things are continuing here as Glacius gets taken out, but Pharaoh falls in return. Again, a 2-for-1 exchange. Sandraith in the background. He's in the middle of no man's land. Needs to be very, very careful here. Although Tempest is low, he still has that ultimate up. Sandraith not going to have any more tree walking. There's the meteor to try and find him. He's going to go down. He does have a port, however, and this Legion team may have lost him. And yeah, they have indeed. The kelp field going to be used onto Dr. Repulsor. Dr. Repulsor going to fall. Lady Melissa going to be the one to pick up the kill. Sandraith just going back and forth here, using that mana battery to continually give him mana, trying to find an opportunity to pick up some kills, but being such a wuss about it, not looking to overcommit. Looks like he is going to finally commit onto Bubbles here. Beautiful take cover from Bubbles to mitigate the slow, as well as some of that damage, and Sandraith is just going to head for the hills. Nothing he can do. Of all the targets to focus, Bubbles is probably the worst. He needs that Desert's Curse for the Deserted to do its extra damage and to really allow Sandraith to do any kind of damage at all. Impunity just continuing to pull ahead, now sitting 18-11, 17 minutes in, 4.6k gold, 7.2k experience. That is a good place to be 17 minutes on. Again, they're actually at a tower disadvantage. They've lost their one tier 1 tower in the mid lane. They're yet to take a tower of their own, yet they still have this huge lead, and that just shows how well they've been controlling the map, how well they've been farming these lanes, and how well they've just been capitalizing on all of their economic opportunities. Very nicely done indeed. Sandraith, the leading farmer now, though, as Bubbles has been slowed down a little bit. Sandraith sitting at 350 GPM. That is scary for the Legion side, and of course, good news for BOCE. Still quite a ways off that Sword of the Hide, though, sitting just about 1,500 in the bank. He's going to be static farming that lane for quite some while before he can really do anything too exciting. Nice lane war going to come down here from Hans Panda. I like that choice to get some aggression going on. Speaking of aggression, in the top lane, Bubbles going to fall. Nothing Ninja Boogie can do against the Repulsor Torturer duo. And he is going to go down. Some action happening here. Down in the bottom lane, support's coming in as well. Looks like Pharaoh going to be the one to get caught to start things off. Keep in mind, Tempest does have an elemental void, so this Hellborn side needs to be very, very careful. First kill of the fight is going to come out onto Pharaoh, and they may be able to pick one up onto Sandraith as well. He does have a Desert's Curse, but with Tempest here to clear the trees as well as that elemental void, it does make me a little bit nervous. He does have a Homecoming Stone, and I'm not going to use it. Just going to hang out in the trees for now. We'll see, is Tempest going to throw down the meteor, try and get a guess? Nope, they're just going to let Sandraith go. They're probably going to assume that he poured it out. Meanwhile, on the top lane, the Hellborn side going to be able to pick up their second tower kill of the game. Well, the second tower kill of the game in general. Completely unchecked. They're going to be able to continue farming that lane for a few moments here, as pretty much everyone on the Legion side is clumped up about the bottom. Bubble's going to head towards the top. All four heroes down here are going to commit to taking out this tier 1 tower. It looks like Dark Lady leading the way. The Plated Greaves from Tempest is going to be used, and this relatively weak tower is going to fall as Bubbles heads to the top, and at the very least prevents Dr. Repulsor from continually pushing the lane, and I like that choice. Glyph going to be used from the Hellborn side. They're probably going to pose a defense of sorts. No deny going to come out. Saw some damage exchanging in the top lane, but no kill going to come out whatsoever. So, in the end, the tower is going to fall, Impunity is going to back up, and BOCE, well, they're going to have 3 heroes down here. They may actually opt to counter push, as there is a tier 1 tower still alive down here at the bottom for the Legion side as well. Still a couple of options. Looking at the inventories, Dark Lady now has a sustainer, getting pretty close to that ruined cleaver. Has enough for the first broadsword, and just sitting about 800 gold off or so, and that's the scary time when Dark Lady turns into, well, she's been farming okay, to holy crap, where did Dark Lady's farm come from? And that's going to be the point where Sandwraith will start feeling a bit of a deficit. I mean, Dark Lady's definitely going to get a Rune Cleaver before Sandwraith gets that Mock of Brilliance. So that is going to give Lady Melissa an opportunity to start pulling ahead in farm and could potentially use that momentum to make something happen. Sandwraith's going to use that ultimate. They're going to engage it on the Dark Lady. Charging strikes away. Is it going to be enough, though? I don't think so. The Tormented Soul going to hit for a little bit of extra damage. A nice tablet. Well, actually not a nice tablet down. A little bit of a miscommunication there. I think Bubbles was trying to bring him up to the high ground instead of the low ground as Dark Lady was running that way. So a little bit of a misplay, but all things considered, I think Dark Lady was going to go down anyhow. So a noble effort from Bubbles, and that's exactly what this Hellborn team needed. I was just talking about that timing where Sandwraith may find himself in a little bit of a sticky wicket, but now getting the assist money for that, actually getting the kill for that, he's going to be in pretty good shape in the way of getting a timely Mock of Brilliance here. Sandwraith now sitting 6-1-5. He's had a hell of a time to start off this game. Meraxis in a similar boat, and Dark Lady 3-3-7. So Dark Lady has been able to pick up some kills, but not quite on the same level that this Sandwraith has. Glancing at the GPM chart yet again, we see things shifting around just a little bit, but still relatively similar to how that early game was. Sandwraith still leading the way at 350 GPM. Yeah, pardon me. So, yes, still a very quiet game, though. I mean, we have a lot of kills on the board, but it still feels very quiet. It's one of these games where there's a lull in the action, and we all of a sudden see a very cluttered, cataclysmic team fight. So it ends up having a good bit of downtime. We're going to see the Hellborn side every time I say it, I keep wanting to say BYOC. That's such a habit from DreamHack. Every time I say BO, it just, or BOC, too many letters similar. The dyslexia is catching up with me. So, anyhow, they are going to clear a triple stack Ancients here, and, yeah, going to keep farming away. Going to keep farming away. Alright. Oh, Torturer going to get caught down here in the bottom lane. Going to be a very easy kill for Lady Melissa. And going to further the domination now, 21-13. Up in the top lane, Ninja Boogie going to be able to take out a tier 1 tower with the help of Meraxis. So this Legion side, I mean, Impunity definitely picking up some momentum. The tower count is even, actually, Impunity pulling ahead in towers now 3-2. They are in great shape. I don't think, we've seen one Elemental Void, but it was on like one person down in that bottom lane to start things off. I'd love to see this Tempest try and be a little bit more active. He does not have a portal key. Tempest going for more of that pushing-oriented Tempest, going for the plated greaves into the Astrolabe, so not going for a fast portal key. And I would have thought portal key before Astrolabe may be the way to go. Of course, this is more of a Dota 2 style of playing Tempest, but kind of interesting nonetheless. I don't know. It seems he's really been struggling to get that initiation that he's been looking for throughout this game, and I think a portal key would help quite a bit. Dark Lady has now finished her Rune Cleaver, though, and this is kind of that time. This is the Hellborn's opportunity to punish Dark Lady's investment. Again, and I say this a lot, and it really doesn't happen too often where we see teams really try and get aggressive after a Rune Cleaver. I mean, we see it from time to time, but this is when they need to try and punish this Dark Lady. It's when she's put all of that hard-earned money into an item that's only given her damage and farming potential. It gives her nothing in the way of survivability, and it doesn't give her that much damage. We're going to see some initiation here, and Invisible Bubble is going to be the one to start it off. Dr. Repulsor going to fall, and as will Nymphora. Two very easy kills for this Legion side. We see some ports coming in, but I have a feeling this tier 2 tower down here in the bottom lane is going to fall in a matter of seconds. Really not much they can do to pose a strong defense. They're going to be forced to sack. It's very unfortunate. I mean, not much you can do against invisible bubbles like that when you're just clearing your Ancients. Very rude indeed. This tower going to fall. Sandwraith, I believe, does have his Sword of the High, as he spent his money on something. I see nothing in the inventory, so he should have that Mock of Brilliance in about 300 gold or so. He's just going to take this opportunity to keep free farming in the top lane. We'll see where Impunity goes from here. They very well just may move into the middle lane and try and pressure that tower as well. Glacius, or Tempest here, going to do a little bit of counter warding action. Certainly Good play indeed. Support Torturer here not working so well for BOCE. A 1-6-3 Torturer is fairly unfortunate. Support or not, you just can't concede that many deaths early on, and now he is so far behind. It's going to be very difficult for this Torturer to do much of anything. Though one of the reasons that Torturer is such a great support hero is that if the game goes on for a while, as this one seems it may, he'll eventually be able to do that damage. I mean, he still has that stun, and he's still a hero that can put a good bit of damage output despite not having much in the way of farm. It's more that survivability that's an issue. The big problem is just being stuck on red boots for so long. I mean, for it in a similar fashion, 10k gold difference, we see it in the inventories. We see these core items starting to show up for the Legion side. A portal key from Araxis, Tempest very close to a portal key if he opts to grab one. Now Dark Lady has the Abyssal Skull, and even Bubbles is in great shape. I mean, he's picked up a Tablet of Command. He has that first Arcana and going to be moving into the second Arcana pretty quickly as well. Or no, he has enough for the second Arcana. He can be moving into the third one quickly as well, pardon me. So the only big item on the Hellborn side of things is Sandwraith. I mean, looking at this GPM chart, he's kind of the only one farming well. Dr. Repulsor is doing okay. He's kind of keeping up. But Sandwraith is making up for the bulk of their gold right now. He's the only one that has any core items. Seeing these two supports still on red boots 25 minutes in is just really scary. It really speaks to the position that BOCE is in right now, and makes things a little bit scary. So, of course, stuck in a pause here. We are watching day 2 of the group stage, the second stage of the DreamHoN Summer Championships 2012. We are now in game 1 of Group B. Of course, there are 4 matches going on, or 4 series going on simultaneously right now. And this is Impunity versus BOCE. Looks like we may be ready to resume momentarily. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be in this pause for another moment or so. So my apologies, BOCE. Waiting for one of their members to return. We should be able to resume underway. A pretty interesting game, though. It looks like Dark Lady is just going to be able to end up taking over. At least that's the way things are going right now. Sandwraith, although he's been farming so well, it's one of the things like, yeah, he's doing well. The rest of the team is struggling so much. Whereas this Legion side is just overall, everyone is in a pretty good place. No, Glacius sitting with 1,500 gold. He's going to be able to pick up a portal key fairly quickly as well. I mean, he's feeling pretty good about himself. Everyone is just kind of a scary force right now, and they all have a lot of gold in the bank. A big difference is going to come down to potential buybacks as well. A lot of strategies you can do with early game buybacks that we see pro players do fairly frequently. So we shall see. Hopefully we can resume very quickly, though. The bane of live casting. Stuck in these pauses. How cool would it be to be a replay caster forever? Just be like, no, I only cast replays, man. I don't do it live. I don't dig pauses. That would be so good. I wish I was bold enough to make that statement. That would be so awesome. So hopefully there aren't too many audio issues. I saw one person complaining about some audio. Usually if there's some big issue that is crippling, multiple people will complain about it. So I'll check out this VOD after it's all said and done. Though, I mean, unless I have like the wrong microphone set or something, which I can't imagine is the case, though you never know. I even asked earlier if there were any problems with the audio, and no one said anything. So I have a feeling that one individual probably had his headphones on backwards or something. But nonetheless, we will check it out. Of course, all these VODs will be posted on YouTube, youtube.com/ZyoriTV1. That is the place to be for all of the VODs that you'll see on this channel. Of course, the game has resumed now, though. BOCE is back in full swing. We can get things underway. Mirax is just going to be able to right-click a Shaman's Headdress here. That is a big item pickup. I love the choice to go Shaman's Headdress instead of Helm of the Black Legion. There's enough magic damage on the Hellborn side that it makes it worthwhile. And even Sandwraith does a little bit of magic damage with that Dissipate, where he returns all that damage reflection actually does come back as magic damage. So works quite nicely for Miraxis to go for that instead of straight for that Helm of the Black Legion, as one may expect him to. So we'll see what Impunity does here. They're getting to the point where they're going to have the option to man up and start forcing these team fights a little bit. If Tempest is going to go straight into Portal Key, that may be their chosen course of action once they finish up this next round of core items to start pressuring, maybe at least take out these last outer remaining towers, and then eventually move into the base. We still haven't really seen a big Tempest ultimate this game. He just hasn't had those opportunities. And, well, I can't wait for that to happen. One of the problems as well, we just see up here, Torturer just get obliterated in a matter of seconds. Sandwraith actually going to take the ulti up here, and he's going to try to engage on Glacius. Glacius is going to fall. That Mock of Brilliance going to be enough to tick him down. That will make it a 1-for-1 exchange. One of the reasons why Sandwraith is such an irritating hero to deal with, because he can do stuff like that. That global presence is so dumb. You can't run away from him, especially if you have Striders, and that Mock of Brilliance just does way too much damage to those squishy supports. So there you have it. Sandwraith still showing us that he has an impact in this game. The point I was going to make about Tempest, though, is Tempest going to go for Portal Key first? Anytime there's a Tempest versus a Pharaoh, it always makes you wonder a little bit. Pharaoh is kind of just a hard counter to Tempest in general. If Tempest doesn't go Shrunken Head and that Hellfire is activated, even if you catch Pharaoh in the ultimate, the Hellfire will still interrupt you if one of them catches you with that mini stun. Similarly, if you go Shrunken Head first, Pharaoh still has the option to interrupt you with that Wrath of the Pharaoh, as it is superior magic and the stun does go through Shrunken Heads. So Tempest has to make some executive decisions pretty quickly here. I would guess it's going to be a Portal Key. Being able to counter Hellfire is a little bit easier than that Wrath of the Pharaoh, especially because of the range which it's at. Portal Key can just allow you to get those initiations. Of course, if you can catch Pharaoh before he gets that ultimate off, that is the golden ticket as well. This is the time, though, we're going to see both hard carries start to go crazy in the way of farm. Sandwraith just taking out back-to-back triple stacks here, and that's actually really good for BOCE. Seems the Legion side isn't too serious about the Ancients. They haven't really done much with theirs, though they have been farming the map just a little bit better, clearing out that jungle a bit more frequently as well, clearing some of the Hellborn jungle actually also. Looks like Impunity is gearing up to put some pressure on the top lane tier 2 tower, though, as they are all clumped up. And they're going to clear these creeps, and we'll see how the Hellborn side reacts. Let's get some split pushing going on here, as Dark Lady's got this bottom lane pushed up. The Hellborn side is all clumped around, and they're going to try to find some initiation here. Dr. Repulsor going to go straight in. Sandwraith going to use that ultimate as well, and Dark Lady looking like she's going to fall. Down she goes. It is going to open up that opportunity for Impunity to take the top tier 2 tower. So, who knows? Dark Lady for the tier 2 tower makes you wonder a little bit. Some port's going to come in. Tempest has that ultimate. There's the freeze onto Pharaoh. Looks like he's going to save the ultimate for another time, possibly. Is Pharaoh actually going to fall here? This is kind of a close call. Pharaoh almost going down. There's Tempest going to catch the ultimate onto Sandwraith, but that's going to be it. The rest of the team's not going to be here to follow up. Miraxis is, though. He's going to catch the Quake. Does have the ultimate, and he's not going to throw it. This is not a good team fight for our Legion side. It is going to end up being a 2-for-3, it looks like. Very, very chaotic and spread out all over the place. Sandwraith going to go back in to try and initiate onto Tempest. Tempest very well may fall here, though Miraxis does have a little bit of mana. Bubble's just going to counter ward while all this is going on. And it is going to be a victorious fight for the Legion side. It looks like a 2-for-3 exchange when it's all said and done. So that Tempest ulti, although only catching, pardon me, Sandwraith, still ended up working out pretty well in the end. Only one outer remaining tower for the Hellborn side left. And they've only taken 2 towers out of their own. So a very cost-effective exchange in favor of Impunity. Once again, not only winning the hero fight exchange, or the hero kill exchange, but also taking out that tier 2 tower. Now about 14k gold, 13k experience ahead. They're in great shape. This next wave of core items is certainly about to come out. I believe that is going to be a Hellflower for Ninja Boogie. Indeed it is. Always a big item pickup at any stage in the game. And we'll see what Tempest does. There it is. Tempest has now picked up the Portal Key with another 1700 in the bank. You know, I talked about the Pharaoh countering Tempest. That's not to say Shrunken Head is a wasted item against a Pharaoh, just one that's not the best. You know, it's not just... obviously, there's some counter potential there. Why are you dropping spam in my chat? All right, so yeah, Tempest with this portal key now, it's going to make things much, much more difficult for the Hellborn side. And you know, this Legion team may even opt to do something similar to what we saw Orange Esports do in the replay we looked at from yesterday in that best of 3 series from against QSQ, where they're just going to play this very methodical. We're going to keep pressuring, wait for the Tempest cooldown, pressure again, wait for the Tempest cooldown, and just keep doing that until they can win the game. Dr. Repulsor going to survive with 29 hit points. That is very unfortunate. We're going to see an illusion here. Actually may finish off the kill. Bubbles trying to micro in 2 places at once. He does have a haste rune activated, and this Bubbles illusion not quite doing enough damage. Dr. Repulsor will be able to survive, it looks like, and oh my gosh, an Enforced Stun, almost missing both. Ninja Boogie doing what he can, unfortunately, just not enough. That should have been a kill. A little bit of favorable RNG right there. One more auto attack. Ouch. Catwoman, it is his lucky day, at least his lucky moment in this game. He's going to be able to survive to tell the tale. Take a look at the GPM chart. Oh, pardon me. The GPM chart here to see where things fare. And still, Sandwraith remains a hop and a skip ahead of the Dark Lady by a nice 50 GPM now, though. It looks like this tier 2 tower in the mid lane is going to fall. So look at that pushing power. The Tempest Elemental is doing a nice bit of additional damage as well. Impunity needs to be a little bit careful here, though. They don't have a Tempest ulti for another 10 seconds or so. They're going to be able to secure a kill onto Torturer to engage this. Now, Sandwraith may be in a little trouble. Tempest is going to fall, but Dr. Repulsor going to fall shortly after. 600 damage ultimate coming out from Araxis. A 2-for-1 exchange so far. Dark Lady could be in a little bit of trouble. Of course, we did see Pharaoh miss that Wrath of the Pharaoh. Things going to continue on here. Dark Lady going to go back in to do a lot of damage to Sandwraith. Not going to be enough for a kill as we see the mummy walls come out from Pharaoh. And it looks like this fight is going to reset yet again. Impunity coming out ahead. It seems nearly every engage, every team fight, Impunity comes out with a 2-for-3 or a 3-for-2, or no, a 2-for-3 or a 1-for-2, some sort of favorable exchange, and just continually adding to their lead. I mean, every fight it seems they go up by 1,000 gold or so when it's all said and done. We are going to see Dark Lady get taken out thanks to that Sandwraith ultimate. Yet again, Bubble's going to be able to use his take cover to prevent Sandwraith from getting an easy kill on him. They may actually be able to turn this around. There is a kill field up from Bubbles. Is he going to turn and throw it? Glacius not the best ally for trying to set up these kills. Now Glacius may be the one in a little bit of trouble. Is going to get the freeze onto Sandwraith. And I think Glacius is going to fall down. He goes, the Mock of Brilliance actually going to take him down. Mirax is coming in to try and make something happen, but not going to be enough despite throwing that Quake Stun. Bubbles now has an Invisibility rune as well as that Hellflower ready. He is trying to pretty much insta-give somebody, and Dr. Repulsor may be his chosen choice, or a target of choice here, pardon me. Both of them have Hellflowers. It's all about who gets the first one off, as of course it does perplex. Needs to be very careful though, as there's a Sandwraith in the near vicinity. And, oh no, this could be very bad for Bubbles here. He's going to throw out the Kelp Field. It's not going to be enough for the kill on a Dr. Repulsor. Oh my gosh, he is sitting at 15 hit points. Again, that has got to be painful for Ninja Boogie back-to-back situations now where he couldn't secure that kill. Very unfortunate indeed. Wow. So, very unfortunate. I don't know what else to say about that. That's just back-to-back times where I guess Bubbles didn't quite do the math, or he just got some unlucky RNG, or whatever it was. Catlomain in the low double digits, 10, 20 hit points remaining, and Bubbles gets taken down. That is just, oh, so painful to see. I'm going to see Tempest get engaged on now by Sandwraith. Tempest going to be in big trouble. Running from Sandwraith is not an easy task. The stun has already been used. Tempest does have Astrolabe up, though, and may be able to survive this. Sandwraith going to use the ultimate. It looks like they may initiate somewhere else on the map. Nope, Sandwraith not going to do it, just using the ultimate for scouting purposes to see if he can dive the tower to finish off that Tempest, or if that was going to be a bad choice. Of course, getting that intel, well, he backed up, certainly making the smart choice there. So well done by Tempest. Didn't even have to burn the Astrolabe, so I guess it wasn't that close of a call. Felt a little closer than it was, probably. Tempest now going to be working towards a Sheep Stick. Does have that Blessed Orb, just now picking up the Mana Tube. So going to be pulling up that gold for that Acolyte Staff to get that Hex ability. Always a big item pickup as well. Dark Lady has now moved into a Nullstone, which is sort of an interesting choice, but kind of makes sense given that there's a Hellflower on the opposition and not really too much single target to knock it off. Dr. Repulsor has one, Torturer has one, Sandwraith as well, but only a couple of abilities, so if that absorbs a Hellflower, that will be absolutely huge. As well, will help if Sandwraith tries to chase him down after fight's kind of complete. It will absorb that Desert's Curse as well. Some push potential coming out here. This Legion side grouping up Impunity, ready to make it happen. The Barrier Idol going to be used, and they want this tower to go down. Tempest sitting in the back with the Portal Key at the ready, as well as the ultimate, as well as the ultimate. And, oh, Tempest, is this going to be your opportunity? Beautifully executed by Pharaoh right there. Is going to get the stun onto Tempest. Tempest going to fall before the ultimate comes out. Nicely done by Cat Lomain, but they do manage to secure a kill onto Torture as well. Glacius going to use the Torrential Downpour, but it's not going to be enough. A kill exchanging happening all over the place. There's the Kelpfield going to come out. Dark Lady doing a lot of damage. Looks like he may be able to survive for now. Sandwraith doing a hell of a lot of damage as well. He's going to pick up a double tap, become a champion of North. Dark Lady going to have to Charging Blades out, and I think Meraxis is going to fall. One of them is going to fall at the very least here, if not both. Dark Lady trying to get to that safe spot before so that she can port. It is looking a little bit grim, and nope, going to be able to survive, though. Avi is going to get taken out. Not the best of team fights for this Legion side. Ends up being a 2-for-1 exchange when it's all said and done. Did Infora go down there as well? Nope, it doesn't look like it. This Sandwraith getting very out of control. 12, 1, and 10. That is a scary Sandwraith indeed. Getting to that point of critical mass where Sandwraith will take over these games. He now has a Behemoth Heart, making him extra tanky as well. Will Dark Lady be able to outcarry the likes of Sandwraith? That is the question on the back of my mind. It also makes me wonder, was this Nullstone a little bit of a mistake? I think the Abyssal Skull had a pretty big impact in that fight. Really the big thing, though, was that Tempest didn't get the ultimate off. Tempest was way too far forward. I said at the beginning of that fight, Tempest in the back with the portal key at the ready, started in an okay position, but as that fight went on, just was too far forward. You can't get caught by the Wrath of the Pharaoh ultimate like that to just easily initiate the fight. You're going to see some counter pushing from BOCE down here in the bottom lane. The glyph going to be used. Usually that means some defense is going to follow, but it looks like Impunity going to opt just to sacrifice it. Down it goes. Hellborn going to pick up the tower kill for a little bit of a gold boost. You know, this gap is slowly closing. BOCE now really within its acceptable margin. 9k gold, 5k experience really isn't a hell of a lot, especially once you start getting into the late game, that 45-minute mark or so. I mean, we're talking about pennies on the dollar difference. That's the difference of one successful team fight. So things starting to look a little bit more grim for Impunity, though not even close to out of this game. Anytime there's a Tempest and a Dark Lady on one team, there is potential to turn things around. Let's just put it that way. Looks like Dark Lady is going to be moving towards the classic. It will be a Frostburn, then split into a Frostwolf Skull and Geometer's Bane. That will be my guess at least. Just now finishing up that Firebrand first, so I'm going to add a little bit to the old DPS chart there. Again, they did a lot of damage to that tower. And this is that kind of methodical play I was talking about, where they're going to go back, reset those cooldowns, and just come straight back into the base. And they need more than half health of the tower. If they can take it out this time, get some exposed racks, that will make for a very easy push. Even if they kind of break even in this fight, the creeps will do a bit of work for them in this kind of a situation. Where's that Barrier Idol? We see Tempest way in the back playing this much more defensively. Barrier Idol still yet to be used by Meraxis. They're probably going to wait for this next wave of creeps. Yep. And try and make it happen. They've already cleared one wave that spawned from this Hellborn side. And they're going to have a nice position here, I think, by the time these creeps spawn. They're going to be able to Barrier Idol and then go straight in. We'll see. A big team fight here on the way. Meraxis is going to go straight into initiate here. He's going to use that ultimate. Dr. Repulsor going to come in as well. He's going to Hellflower Bubbles. Not as bad news bears for Bubbles. How's this fight going to start? Lady Ricardo going to pick up a double tap. Nice ultimate from Tempest. It will get interrupted from Wrath of the Pharaoh. Bubbles going to be in big trouble here as well, but Dark Lady just tear-assing around Manhattan. The hat trick has come out, and now Sandwraith is sitting on a bloodbath streak, but it is not looking good for him. Even if he survives this, I think Pharaoh is going to go down. Down he goes. Dr. Repulsor is back after a buyback. He may be in a little bit of trouble. No, going to be able to secure the kill onto Dark Lady. A very worthwhile buyback. Now Meraxis is going to be in a bit of trouble. I think Tempest is going to have to port the hell out of here. Is Tempest going to be in trouble here as well? Nope. Going to be able to portal key back. He's going to be in fine shape. Bubbles actually going to buy back in that fight, but not going to be able to do anything with it. Talk about a big buyback from Dr. Repulsor. They're going to be able to pick up that double tap. If he did not buy back, I'm confident that would have been a genocide. Looking at this differential up here, it looks like the Hellborn team does come out ahead when it's all said and done, closing that gap just a little bit, though it was a very, very even exchange. Unfortunate, Bubbles wasn't able to get that kelp field off, as well as no glacial downpour. I think I called it torrential downpour in an engage earlier. So a nice engage from Meraxis, but the follow-up needs to be there. It seems Impunity just doesn't quite have that same stagger ability that Orange Esports does. Not to make that comparison again, but you know, comparing some of the differences, they have so much potential here, but they need to stagger their abilities a little bit more. They need to get that initiation so that Bubbles isn't the one that gets Hellflower. These last two team fights where they haven't come out ahead, it's because a key ultimate hasn't been used. First fight, it was that Elemental Void. That fight, it was Kelp. kelp field. No kelp field came out, no bubbles rotation. He just got pretty much just bursted down as that fight started. Sandwraith going to go ahead and pick up a Wingbow here, which is an interesting choice. With Sandwraith, generally speaking, that's not going to be your best choice because Dissipate is based on incoming damage, so you really just want to buff up that max health pool more so than anything else. This Wingbow, of course, has Evasion, which is damage mitigation, much different from Dissipate. So Wingbow does not synergize with Dissipate, but it is a great choice here. It's so good in a situation like this where you have a hard carry going up against a hard carry. For Dark Lady to go toe-to-toe with Sandwraith now, it's going to be very, very difficult, knowing that she's going to be missing 30% of the time. That means that Dark Lady is going to have to pick up a Savage Mace at some point in this game, and preferably in the very near future here. I like the timing for this item choice on Sandwraith because Dark Lady's obviously committed away from going for that Savage Mace very early on. Now that she's picked up that Firebrand, she could stop and switch and start working on that Savage Mace, but it is going to negate a lot of the sunk cost into this item. A nice 2,200 gold. So very good timing from Sandwraith. Going to give him a nice edge for at least the next 10 minutes or so before Dark Lady can farm up that Savage Mace that will inevitably turn the tide in this game. It's going to be a matter of time, though. Once Dark Lady gets that Savage Mace, she's going to be able to shut down this Sandwraith fairly easily. The problem, though, is how long is that going to take? Is it going to take longer than BOCE will push in, or I'm going to just rephrase that sentence because it was all sorts of jarbled around. Is BOCE going to pressure this Legion team so much that Dark Lady's not going to be able to get the Savage Mace in time to really make a big difference? Looks like that won't be the case. She's sitting with about 2,200 gold, so she's about 3,200 off, and it seems the Hellborn side has really no interest in pushing. All three Tier 2 towers for Impunity still remain, and they're all at really high health, so even if they throw another team fight, or possibly two, they still have a pretty good barrier before they're going to lose a lane of racks, let alone 2 lanes of racks. So they're still in pretty good shape here, despite their lead slowly slipping away from them. More big items have been picked up as well. Mirax is going to be on that Soul's Bulwark now, which I believe he's had for quite some while. We see Bubbles now with his Blessed Orb. Makes me wonder if he's going to be picking up a Sheep Stick as well. And I have a feeling that's going to be it, as Tempest is still working on that Sheep Stick also. Of course, does have the Mana Tube in the bank already that he picked up 5-10 minutes ago. Over on the Hellborn side of things, they've got a barrier idol of their own now, seeing the inventory of Pharaoh. We talked about that Wingbow that was just picked up on the Sandwraith. All the boots have been completed, and we see a Mr. Catloman on Dr. Repulsor with about 3,200 gold in the bank, and he does have a Mighty Blade. So I'm going to be guessing here he's going to be picking up that Shrunken Head, which is probably the smart play. Always a good item pickup, especially on a relatively squishy hero like Dr. Repulsor. It's going to make him a very scary presence in these team fights. I mean, Dr. Repulsor is also a hero that can carry pretty well also. If he gets enough farm. I do want to point out Tempest is not going to be going for that Sheep Stick, as I was thinking. I'm actually opting for a 42-minute Nullstone. A very interesting choice. It's not too frequent we see Nullstones on Tempest, let alone Nullstones that come out at the 43-minute mark of a competitive match. So combining those two together, this is an extraordinarily strange build that Tempest is going for. Still no Shrunken Head, but going to go Nullstone instead. Just going for a bit more sustain. I mean, that's really what it comes down to in these team fights. Needs to be able to sustain, needs a larger hit point pool, and that's what he's going to go for. I mean, Dark Lady sort of falling into a similar boat here as she did the same thing, picking up a Nullstone very kind of late in the grand scheme of things. Went Ruined Cleaver, Abyssal Skull, then straight into Nullstone. So sort of an interesting build coming out from Dark Lady. She's still pulling that gold, which makes me think a Savage Mace will be the item choice coming out in the near future. Again, a relatively pricey item here. She's still going to be about 2k off now as she's sitting on 2,300. Probably just going to continue to see static farm fest for the next 3 or 4 minutes or so until Dark Lady can finish up that core item. And that's what I'm talking about, where there is that timing window for BOCE, but they don't really seem to recognize it. Right now, they should try and take a team fight if they can. I mean, they don't want to force it, they don't want to run into a Tempest Ultimate, but they should try and make a fight happen if the opportunity comes about, or anything looks like it could be a promising opportunity. While Sandwraith has this item advantage, I'm telling you, this is really a big time. Looks like they're not going to capitalize, though, which is very unfortunate. They probably do feel like their backs are up against the wall, knowing that Tempest has that ultimate and all of the defensive ultimates, as well as the Dark Lady ulti here, Cover of Darkness, makes it very hard to push in. So Impunity does have a pretty good team for trying to defend. Nullstone also going to be very powerful against Sandwraith. As we see here, it does absorb that global ultimate, as Nullstone does with every other global ultimate, that Thunderbringer ulti, as well as, what's the other example of that other global, oh, the Vindicator ultimate as well. So possibly influencing the decision-making a little bit just to nullify the effectiveness and the disorientation of that Sandwraith ultimate. Now they have 2 less illusions to deal with. I mean, Bubbles very well maybe opting for a Nullstone of his own also. Sort of hard to say as he just has the Blessed Orb. I still feel a little more confident about saying a Sheep Stick is going to come out, but you never know. He could be opting for that Nullstone as well. Dark Lady now going to pick up the Slayer, sitting with about 2,100 gold in the bank, so it looks like that's exactly what we're waiting for at this point in time. Pooling up that gold still, as she wants to also have enough for buyback just in case, playing it very smart. Looks like the Legion team just going to go for a Kongor kill here. There's a little bit of counter-warding action coming about. There is a ward down for the Hellborn, so just look how fast Kongor is dropping here. Bubbles on the high ground, missing every single auto attack. Tormented Soul going to come in, but it doesn't matter. By the time they see it, Kongor is pretty much already dead. The Firebrand going to hit the deck. Glacius actually going to be the one to pick up that Firebrand and give it to the Courier. But Dark Lady now has a token of life. She is very, very close to finishing that Savage Mace now. It's a 3,200 gold investment. So she's about 800 gold off, and that is going to be scary time indeed. Going to continue farming away. I'm telling you, once that Savage Mace comes out, it's going to be like Dark Lady is a different hero, and that's going to be the cue for this Legion side to put the pressure on to make it happen. Bubbles did spend some of that gold, and I'll be honest with you, I did miss what it was. If he is going for Nullstone, it looks like he should have enough to pick it up based on how much gold he had before. Again, I can't confirm that that's going to be the case, as he may still be pooling for Sheep Stick. I did miss the item, a little item animation though. Since we last looked at items, Dr. Repulsor has finished up his Shrunken Head, and we see Sandwraith sitting with 4,500 gold in the bank. So he's going to have more than enough for a buyback, and there it is. Looks like Bubbles is going to be opting for a Nullstone. Did just go ahead and pick up that Sustainer. So that's going to be his chosen route. Oh, very, very boring game, guys. I have to say, I don't miss this metagame whatsoever. Dark Lady versus Sandwraith. So much farming going on. If we take a look at the creep scores, 462 creep kills. No, that I was reading the wrong column over. 326 creep kills, still an absurd number for Dark Lady. Sandwraith sitting at 332. So remarkable how even they are, kind of showing how well both of them have been farming throughout this game. Keep in mind, though, Sandwraith is 14, 1, and 12. He's had a phenomenal game so far. All those kills, of course, contributing quite a bit to that huge amount of farm he's been able to rack up. Dark Lady, though, man, she's got that Savage Mace, and she is on a mission. She's going to man up and walk into the danger zone a little bit. She'd walk well past a Ward of Rev. But, yeah, this Legion team now finally getting to that point where they're going to start grouping up. Tempest, or pardon me, Meraxis is back in the base. He almost has that Demonic Breastplate. There it is. Alright, did have the recipe in the bank. So he now has Demonic Breastplate. That's perfect timing. Demonic Breastplate and Savage Mace going to come out at just about the same time. Those are 2 items that are drastically going to buff up this Dark Lady. No Soul's Bulwark, not even a Soul's Bulwark, let alone a Demonic Breastplate on the Hellborn side of things. And that is going to be something that they're going to need to buff up this Sandwraith as well. We see the Abyssal Skull for Dark Lady has been scrapped, and kind of unfortunate at that. It would be nice to see one of these supports pick up an Abyssal Skull at this point, but I don't know that that's going to be the case. I think Dark Lady with that lifesteal is kind of the golden ticket, even though he's probably going to be sitting up for a Frostburn. I still like the Aura lifesteal on Dark Lady. So looking for these opportunities. We see the Hellborn side playing very, very defensively here. They are so cautious, backed up into the base. They do not want to get caught out. They know that this timing is very, very scary for them. They know Dark Lady's pretty rapidly catching up to their Sandwraith, so they are playing with fire quite literally. Well, actually not quite literally, quite figuratively. Sandwraith actually going to go ahead and pick up his Savage Mace as well. An interesting choice. I would have thought that he would go for that Demonic Breastplate. Let's see, is Dissipate pre-mitigation or post-mitigation? I'm actually not sure if armor is a good or a bad thing on Sandwraith. I have a feeling it's pre-mitigation, so it takes 20% off before armor is factored in. That's the way I understand it, at least. So armor is actually very valuable on Sandwraith, and again, that's what makes me just a little bit surprised to see him going for more of this hard carry route. We'll see. It's a little bit scary. A little bit scary. Plenty of time left still on the token, though, sitting at about 3 minutes. Impunity taking their sweet time. They don't want to make that fatal misstep. They don't want to waste the token. And here it is. The courier going to be bringing the Abyssal Skull back. I guess it's just chilling on the courier for now, but the Ice brand going to be added to make the Frostburn complete for Dark Lady now. And yep, there it is. So Dark Lady. Still, can anyone else? I wish someone else could use that Abyssal Skull. I feel like that would be kind of broken if you could share the aura items like that. You know, just Dark Lady. Here you go, Glacius, have an Abyssal Skull. But it is kind of unfortunate because it's an aura-based item. It seems a little strange to me for Dark Lady to pick it up first, but that is a popular build. If it does help in the farming, it's not bad. It just kind of stinks when you get to this point. And that Abyssal Skull would actually be quite helpful. You can see this tier 3 tower here in the mid lane still very, very low from the aggression that came about it earlier on. Legion side still looking for the opportunity. We haven't seen a kill in quite some while. 50 minutes in now, still a 12k gold, 14k experience lead for our Legion side. And they're going to make it happen. The barrier idol going to be used. This is their opportunity. I wouldn't be surprised to see Meraxis just man up and try and catch somebody here. Dark Lady just going to go straight in. She's going to hit the tower. That's going to force the glyph to be used. It is going to be in deny range, but it doesn't matter. Miss Air finishes it off with the elementals. The tower falls, and this Legion side really didn't have to commit a hell of a lot to get it. And now that is going to be a little bit more difficult for the Hellborn side. They don't have that added DPS of the tower for the team fight, which will make this defense that much more difficult. Also, the naked racks will drop very, very quickly. Let's see here, though. Initiation is going to be everything. Can Tempest get the initiation that he needs? And there it is. Meraxis is going to go straight in. Where's that Tempest ulti? I'm just waiting for it. Is Tempest going to get caught in the back? No, it's going to be Glacius the first to fall. There's that Tempest ulti we've been waiting for. We're going to catch all 4 heroes, and all that damage is going to come out in 4. The only one going to be left out to the side, but it doesn't matter. See Dr. Repulsor surviving. He's going to head back to the well. It's not going to be enough. The racks are going to fall, and 4 are going to connect with the stun. Beautiful Tempest ultimate. A shame Glacius had to die before it came out, but still very, very nicely done right there. We're going to see this Legion side just go straight to the top lane. No buybacks at the ready for the Legion. Oh, that is so painful. And that is going to be the end of 2 lanes of Raxus. Very well could be the GG push right here. Catlomain going to go in. That's kind of a last-ditch effort. He's going to fall. Sandray dead for another 49 seconds. The GG well-playeds come out. And that's going to be it. Impunity is going to take this series 2-0. After a beautifully placed Tempest ultimate. Tempest has been quiet this whole game with very few ultimates, and at the end of the game lands the money ulti to make it happen. We're going to see Dr. Repulsor buy back here, and that will be enough to take out Dark Lady. Of course, he does have the token, so he's going to pop right back up. We're going to see Sandwraith come up in about 25 seconds or so, but I don't think it's going to be enough. This bottom lane of Rax is going to fall. The tower falls first, and Exposed Rax is going to fall shortly after. Creeps pushing in, and yep, we are here at a GG mark. So Pharaoh going to come in, Catlomain as well. Catlomain actually going to be able to finish off the courier. Not as if it matters. Torture going to be able to connect with a stun, even if they fend off this little push. It's just not going to be enough. You don't come back from super creeps. Dark Lady going to finish off the towers, and I thought I saw a concede vote, but I guess it was just my eyes playing tricks on me. Going to see the initiation commence here. Catlomain just having some fun flying around. He's going to engage onto Bubbles. Unfortunately, they don't have enough damage to take him out. The throne is exposed. Miss Air is actually going to fall, but just look at that. Dark Lady cutting through Sandwraith like it's butter. I think that Savage Mace pickup at the end was a bad item choice for a Mr. Sandwraith. Though they may be able to clean this up. Dark Lady trying to just pick up as many kills as possible. Going to pick up the hat trick and on a Savage 6 streak. Unfortunately, he is going to fall to the likes of Sandwraith, though. The game will continue on just a little bit longer. I mean, Sandwraith is so farmed right now. 19, 3, and 12. He picks up the quad kill. It just doesn't matter, though. It just doesn't matter. Too much damage was done in that last team fight. They've lost way too much. They don't have any structures left. They've got a couple of supply depots over here. Shrines, whatever you want to call them. They're in bad, bad shape. A couple of buybacks going to be used on the Legion side. Yeah, GG, well played. The vote to concede going to come out. They're not going to waste the time. And there it is. The vote is going to pass. So very nicely done by this Legion side to pick up a win in game number 2. Going to take the series 2-0. Impunity with a very, very long game. 53 minutes on that last match. A lot of static farming, but that's what you get when it's Dark Lady versus a Mr. Sandray. So it seems every series we've covered so far in DreamHoN have ended 2-0. ZyoriTV is yet to cover a series that goes into that third match, but a series well fought. BOCE certainly did a nice job Impunity just proving to be the slightly better team in the end. Of course, I'm Zyori from ZyoriTV. Happy to be bringing you guys some DreamHoN Summer Championship coverage here in 2012. My goal has been to cover the Southeast Asian teams as much as possible, and when HonCast chooses them for their match of the day / the one group that doesn't have an SEA team, well, they'll just be covering one of the other matches to bring you guys a little bit more Heroes of Newerth action.